Hello and welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's episode of the program, we'll be discussing about human resources and how it can affect the working conditions as we continue to combat the coronavirus pandemic during this period, as unemployment seems to be the order of the day. We will be right back.
Are classified as poor.
On the 6th of April, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari for the establishment of a scheme to run in all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory from October to December 2020. 1,000 persons would be employed each from the 774 local government areas under the scheme, described as the Federal Government Special Public Works Program. It is a means of mitigating the effect of the coronavirus pandemic on the economy. The extended phase of the scheme will provide a thorough selection of persons with menial skills from different local areas.
We do not have a comprehensive data, especially of unskilled labor. We don't have. Up to the point we came and took over government. Over the years, governments have not been concerned about that. So this is the beginning of such, collation of data. This is the beginning of serious effort by this government to begin to have a database at that level, to have details, their bank accounts, even for purposes like COVID-19.
Beneficiaries will also be paid monthly stipends of 20,000 naira, while their engagement will be limited to menial and artisan engagement. The program will start by 1st of October.
According to research, young people under 25 years of age, making up 60% of Africa's population, are unemployed. The International Labour Organization wants member states of the ILO to develop a human-centered approach to the future of work.
Let us know that if we do not fundamentally have a shift, the number of unemployed people in Africa will increase from 34.1 million this year to 34.8 million.
Job creation must be taken down from PowerPoint presentation in beautiful summits like this and taken to the corridors of effective public policy making to achieving the desired results.
Minister of Labour Chris Ngige re-emphasized the need for improved skills in technology.
The essence being that we want to create new entrepreneurs so that they can employ themselves and also employ others.
The Director General of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association believes that government needs to create the enabling environment for industries to thrive.
The infrastructural deficit in the environment is huge and colossal. Of course, the access to credit issue is also there, and so on and so forth. So, government policy is very critical. And once these policies are instituted, government should ensure that there are no reversals.
Findings show that no fewer than 1 million young people in Africa enter the job market monthly, with the continent's working population growing by 18 million jobs, 80% of which are in the informal sector. Even more challenging is the revelation that out of the 73 million jobs created in the past few years in Africa, only about 16 million jobs were grabbed by young people.
The truth is that there is a high rate of unemployment now. The schools are not in section, and those ones in private schools, mostly in private schools, teachers are not being paid. They complain, and again, I think government should probably see ways in which they can come together with private organizations and provide them with means of finance to support them so that they can be able to pay their employees. This COVID-19 is actually killing and destroying life now. But at the same time, we can't still hold the economy ransom because of this COVID-19. there's need for government to reopen and ensure that the economy come back to life, because actually things are not going well now. So there's need for government to reopen so that the economy can pick up itself.
Before the advent of COVID-19, the unemployment rate has been a challenge to government, and with the advent of COVID-19, a lot of jobs, should I say, technically got lost. If you look at it, you don't have to say it. What happens to the airlines? What happens to hotels and tourism? Because you will travel, you stay in the hotel. You would stay in the hotel to travel. All those ones, even the lockdown, interstate lockdown too, has also reduced a lot of goods. Yeah, government has tried to limit the impact by creating avenue for certain categories of goods to move, like food and everything. But it has been a serious challenge. And the palliatives, yes, but to me, those are short term. When you want to teach a man to fish instead of giving him fish, that's the bottom line. So we plead with all the employers of labor that they should try also make this sacrifice. The COVID-19 will fade away very soon, and the economy will grow back again. So let's hope that it will grow, and we've learned our lessons. I believe too the dynamics will change with this COVID-19. People have learned their lessons. They know that things are not what you are pursuing every day. You were at home for almost 3 months or so. So what has changed? If I don't get this in today, I will die. But you are still at home. So I think the dynamics has really changed, and it will help the country.
Yeah, about unemployment to the workers during the COVID-19 period, most of the individual companies, they are unable to pay the salary to their workers. It's not the workers that said that COVID-19 should happen. At least if they can be able to be paying after the salary to the workers, it will be good for them, so that the worker can be able to have something to eat. Most of them, they sack their workers because they can't be able to pay the salary again. And you can see our economy throughout the nation is down. If you are not a government worker, you will not be able to collect your salary. Government is trying to those who are government workers. But some they are not a government workers, they find it difficult.
On the profile interview segment this week, I will be speaking with HR strategic consultant and also an economist from the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. Joining me on the program is Olushola Ayodele. Good to have you on the program.
Good to have me. Thank you very much.
A lot is happening in the country and also across the world, especially when it has to do with the economy. We know that Nigeria, which is an oil-producing country, is also faced with low crude oil prices, and it's reflecting in the government revenue. What are your findings from this development as an employer's body?
Okay, for welcome viewers, for our home perspective, yes, Nigeria's revenue has been dependent on 50% from oil. And based on the challenges in the global economy currently, vis-a-vis the COVID-19 and the oil price between Russia and Saudi Arabia, which, OPEC has stepped into. Because of all this and other related issues, it have affected one way or the other the revenue that is accruing to Nigeria, basically because of, we are dependent on oil revenues for oil, most of our, financing of our budget. So it will be a great effect on the economy itself, because we depend solely on revenues, let me say like 50 to 60% of our revenue.
What would be your expectation with this projection of the fall, not just even the projection, with the reality of the fall in the low crude prices?
Okay, the projection, because like you see, what the federal government has tried to also to do is to review the budget of 2020, because going by what we have in our estimates before, I think the oil benchmark was benchmarked on $57 per barrel, but now it has to be revised to $30 per barrel. So nevertheless, if not for this revision, there will be a a more higher deficit in supporting the budget. So that's why, yes, we have to review, the country have to review the budget downward and, taking away issues that have not, clear necessity out of the federal budget. So the projection is that, yes, there will be low or dwelling revenue accruing to the federal government and as well to other states as well.
As the representative from the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, what would you say is the implication of this for the employers of labor in the country?
Implication of the dwelling prices of oil, because one way or the other, and also the global economy as a whole, because one way or the other, it has effects on how member companies or how businesses also transact with the rest of the world. Currently, there is like shutdown in the global trade system. So for companies to get their raw materials, it's become an issue for them too. So because of this COVID and even the war in the oil prices, it affects one way or the other on the employers. And if it affects the employers in getting raw materials, you can also believe that definitely the revenue accruing to companies as well will also go down. And it has implication on what translates to, employees as well. And because the business is not running on full blast. With the COVID-19, as we can see, companies are running at, 20 to 25% of their capacity. This also have effects on the business, on even the investors as well. So one way or the other, they are all, having negative effect on businesses.
Okay, moving forward, there are lots of projections because Nigeria was on lockdown for more than 4 weeks, and of course we know that there would be implications to doing business. What kind of policies would you want the government to put in place to ensure that the effect probably would, the negative effects would probably be minimal?
As been advocated by Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, we believe there is need for us to balance this issue. Because one, the supply side, which is the business, they need to be stimulated one way or the other. And we have identified some key sectors that are worth it. Not that they will be the only one that will be to be stimulated. The whole sector of the economy needs to be stimulated, but nevertheless, there are some that are worst hit by this pandemic, like the aviation sector, the tourism sector, the manufacturing sector, even in some cases the retail and the construction companies. Yeah. So we believe that if there could be a specific palliative addressed to this complaint, like tax relief, tax holidays, can be given to this group of companies. And in some cases, like being practiced in the rest of the world, we have companies being, that the government, the palliative takes care of like between 4 to 6 months of employees pay, salaries for those period of time. Because one way or the other, we need this business to run. That's on the supply side. We also look at the demand side, the employees, because even if the companies are producing, there is also need for the consumers also to be able to have enough, money in their hands to purchase the goods that the companies are producing. So we need to balance the equation. Like the bill that is being sponsored by the National Assembly on the stimulus package for that we include tax relief for the employees, import duty relief, and some other things. I think it is high time the Senate also try to also give a concurrence to this, to this bill, which could be the president can make assent to it. So we believe on these two angles, give palliative, targeted palliative to companies or sectors that are worst hit for them to bounce back. And if possible, create a fund that we can use to pay salaries for 4 to 6 months of employees. Likewise, to the employees, there is need also for them to also have some kind of stipends, payment that needs to be given to them for them to be able to at least stay afloat. And for some sectors of the employees, from group of the employees as well, that lose their job as well, there is need for us to have a buffer for them, compensate them, so that at the end of the day, the whole economy, as businesses are producing, there is also once the other side of it for consumption as well, stimulating consumption.
Thank you, Olushola Odele, for joining us on the program. The conversation continues shortly with Erefa Koka, HR strategic consultant. It's good to have you on the program.
It's good to be here as well.
According to the International Labour Organization, 1 out of 6 youth are actually out of job because of the coronavirus pandemic. As an HR consultant, what would be your take on this development?
Okay, as we are all aware, this is an unprecedented time for the world at large, not just speculating to Nigeria alone. I know that lots of people are out of work, both in the US, in America, even in China, where the pandemic started from. And there's no way to judge when the job loss or when we get back into a job boom will start. In Nigeria, before, we're already faced with unemployment, and then coupled with the pandemic and the coronavirus, it sort of made it worse, as organizations don't even know when they're going to earn. So the job loss obviously is as a result of the pandemic and is affecting the whole job system in terms of even some employers don't know, haven't even taken a decision as to, are we going to keep our people or are we going to let our people go? So there's still job uncertainty, even in some organizations where employees know that their company hasn't earned a dime or earned any income or revenue since maybe February, March. There's the uncertainty that I might not have a job. So it's month in, month out, and just living on uncertainty. What's the management is dealing with? I don't want to let my people go, but my books are saying otherwise. So it's a pandemic, as I said, it's unprecedented. There's no way we're going to come out of it. It's like a recession. It can be caused by bad economy, it can be caused by bad decisions. But as long as we get out of it, we can then begin to see. Right now, nobody can give you a note or a blueprint to say this is when the job loss or what is going to happen in the job market is going to be over, until we can determine a time when the pandemic is over. So I know that economies are beginning to work again because of What happens in the flu season? What happens in December when there's no cure or vaccine to the coronavirus? Our jobs, so it's very uncertain at this time. So I don't think anyone can actually call what the job loss or what it's going to be.
Okay, as a human resource person, you're dealing with people, and you have vast knowledge on how it works. Underemployment is a thing of concern. What do you think can be done in terms of managing people to ensure that those that are actually gainfully employed can feel better in the workplace?
I think this is where this is a trust economy. This is when employers should be able, whether the employers, whether the management, the HR management, it's a small business run company. This is where the owner of the business will need to, this is what we call the trust economy. You need to let your employees know what is going on. This is where we are. This is what we plan to do. It's communication, open communication, and they understand. So even if we are thinking of letting people go, prepare them for the worst. Don't let people come to work and they know you're telling them, so sorry, we can't keep up with paying you, we have to let you go. I think it's continuous communication with the people, open communication, and just build an economy of trust, build a relationship of trust within the organization. Let them trust that whatever the management is saying is the truth, and management is looking out for us, even in this pandemic, even in this unprecedented situation. Our best interest is in their heart, and we're all looking towards moving forward and resolving this issue. So just generally assuring them that this is where we are. At every point, communicate with your employees, let them know what the situation is and suggestions. What do they think? You might be thinking, we might have to close this revenue stream because we're not making money, but the employees might be able to give you a suggestion as to what you can do to retain that revenue stream.
That moves us to the new reality, which is working from home. How would you assess this development as an expert?
Okay, I've been an advocate for working from home. I run a team of about 15 people, and from last year, May, so I run a conference called the HR Expo Africa, which is done annually. And I remember at the conference last year, one of the panel keynote discussions, because I moderated it, and I asked the question, would you want your employees to work from home? They're small business owners, and everybody said no, no, they won't work, they won't do this, they won't do that. But a friend of mine also ran a poll on LinkedIn, and the question he asked was, what enforced your digital transformation? The CTO, the CEO, or coronavirus? And the answer was coronavirus. So when we had a choice, we thought, oh, we can't do it. My people won't work. When I call them, they won't be doing what they're supposed to do. But when we had no choice, it's either your office stops working for that period where they can't come out, or you adapt to the new reality. Working from home is here to stay. As I was saying, from last year, May, we decided to create a 4-day work week in my organization. So that means people physically come to the office 4 days a week, and you take a day that you want to work from home and work from home. And we managed it since last year, May. So working from home, us transitioning for a 5-day week of working from home we had the initial issues of obviously infrastructural challenges that we all have in Nigeria, trying to connect to stuff like that. But working from home is a reality that is here to stay. Clearly, some sectors can work from home, manufacturing, producing, but if some aspects of the organization can work from home, you actually find out that it's time consuming, it saves costs, and there's more productivity. Once you can create all the modalities around working from home, manage the infrastructure challenges to a bit, it's here to stay and it's not going to change. I don't think every organization is going to go back and think, oh, we're back to normal, it's business as usual, and we're going to go back to our number 9 to 5. We have to sort of evaluate our workplace and see who can work from home, when can you work from home, discuss with them, how do you feel about working from home? Some people don't work from home. They don't like to work from home because they don't have the right. And some people will actually be more productive working from home. So I don't think going forward, we're going back to usual in most organizations. We're going to look at this because it's a different reality and people are beginning to, see that this is where we are and it's not going to change.
Talking about cutting costs, I am aware that many companies have actually cut costs on logistics, on power and all, but yet we still have unemployment on the rise. Do you think employers are being fair with workers?
Okay, as I am an employer as well, I know that it's tough time for every one of us. If you haven't generated a revenue in 3 months, your books will not look good. If you haven't generated any revenue. Now, I know some employers are taking advantage of the pandemic, even though the employees can see that they're making money or revenue is coming in, and they say, oh, because of the coronavirus, we've had to take a pay cut and stuff like that. But the reality is, as I said, it's a trust economy. We have to build the trust of our employees to say, when we say we are cutting costs and we have to reduce your salary, it's because we are actually cutting costs, not because we are taking undue advantage of the pandemic and trying to reduce staff salary and stuff. But I do know for most employers, because I consult for organizations, haven't earned any revenue in close to 3 months, and it's a struggle for them to keep the company afloat. So cutting costs on power, on this and the other, is not making up for the non-revenue that they're not generating. So it's a catch-22.
Moving forward, across the world, economies are beginning to open, and that means probably there might be new jobs that can be created. What would be your advice on this?
Okay, one of the things that we've always said in HR is the gig economy. The gig economy is where I work for multiple organizations at the same time. I think Nigeria needs to get to that position where you don't think that your employee should work for just you. As long as the employee, I can work for you 2 days a week, work for another organization 2 days a week, and work for one day a week. And I don't have to physically be present to deliver on those job deliverables, because this is what the gig economy operates. And it's happening all over the world. And we have to embrace it. If you want a project manager, you don't have to physically have a project manager on a 9 to 5, 30-day, 20-day work week a month working for you. Projects can be managed remotely. Designs can be different works can be managed remotely, really. So I think that moving forward, especially with the millennials and the Generation Z coming forward, we have to embrace the approach of a gig economy, of not saying walking into the office and seeing 30 people in the workplace where you don't really need all of them to be there at the same time. You say because you say you get more work done, and yes, so jobs be created.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Madam.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.